Ahoy, ladies, gents, and NBs. You've just entered the Last Save Lounge, a weekly interview show about the games that saved our progress and a little bit of us. I am your host, Aaron Turbo Hoodie Amendola, and boy, howdy, I'm happy you're here. If you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and click whatever doodly do you got to click to support the show and help it grow into a giant, unwieldy podcast kaiju. As a reminder, new episodes every Tuesday wherever you get your podcasts, with clips and video episodes on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. Listeners, you may remember from episodes past, my wife and I, one of the first games we played was the original Life is Strange way, way back. Oh my goodness, 10, 11 years ago. We treated it as a co-op game. We would pass the controller back and forth. We would talk about our decisions. And that's kind of how we courted each other in a way. We learned a lot about each other and why we made the decisions that we made. And we ended up doing that for Life is Strange.
That's so lesbian of you.
Thank you. Thank you. That's really good. And that's going to be like the tagline of this episode. But we really did learn so much about ourselves through Life is Strange 2, Before the Storm. And now we are closing in on the end of Double Exposure. And I should just introduce, this week I'm joined by Aysha, game writer and narrative designer. You may know their work from games like The Sky Left Us, more recently Pathologic and Life is Strange Double Exposure. And shout out to Chicago's very own Uncanny Magazine. Aysha, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Like I told you, this has been a day. My daughter encountered a ladybug and her whole world exploded. So I'm sure we will hear her screams of excitement and sadness as she tells my wife about her day. Are you playing anything right now that's really grabbing you?
I am still, people who listen to my shows know this about me. I've been playing Baldur's Gate 3 for 300 hours trying to beat honor mode, which is the mode.
God.
It's the difficult mode where if you die one time, you have to start all over.
Uh-huh.
So I've done that a lot recently. It's been my emotional support video game.
During my wife's second and third trimester, Baldur's Gate was her game. And I watched her go absolutely feral.
Yeah, I played it last year. I know a couple people who work at the studio, and I got a code from one of them, and I was like, okay, I'll try it. I'm not a huge tactical RPG person usually, and I
Do
don't
play
really
D&D tabletop?
No. So I didn't know anything about. I was like, I don't even know what a spell slot is. So I started it and I was playing it on the Steam Deck. So it's with the radial menu. So I played it. I played the whole thing. It took me forever because I suck so bad at it. And then I recently got a new gaming laptop. And I was like, oh, I bet I could run Baldur's Gate on this. I've been wanting to try a different build. And it is so much better on desktop that I have played 400 more hours of it. It's just so much better.
I love that. And long story short, I have played Act 1 about 5 times now. But golly, I'll finish it one day.
Yeah, I basically have a golden path that I use through Acts 1 and 2 to get to 3 fast. So I tend to make the same decisions over and over because of honor mode, because I just know what works and what doesn't work. I have been changing which characters I play. I've been playing all of the origin characters. So right now I'm using Karlach.
Okay. My OTP. Well,
yeah. Well, half your OTP? Who's your OTP?
My created character, which is just a dragon person.
Your Tav. Okay. All right.
Yeah. So my wife got into Dragon Age long time ago. It was one of the first gifts I gave her when we started going out. And I was like, it's an RPG and you get to do this and that. You choose who you're going to romance. And she was like, romance? I don't think I'll do that in a game. And now every time we start a game, I'm like, so who are you flirting with?
Famous
and in this game, I know, right? And in this, she was like, I don't think I'll go for Karlach. 2 hours later, she was like, "So we got to talk about Karlach." And I was like, "Yeah,
Yeah,
right."
I do love Karlach. Unfortunately, Baldur's Gate 3 has the two types of men that I'm actually attracted to in it. So I was more paying attention to them, like the two rare types, like depraved queen and huge guy. So those are the two types of men that I find attractive.
So
So
Gale is your depraved queen.
no, Asterion. Gale is so Gale, I hate his guts, but in a way that I think he's a great character. I just think that I've known guys like Gale. I don't know why like my light is making me so red. Um I feel like Gale's like a guy that you know in college, and that like stresses me out.
He's the guitar guy. He knows three chords and he will charm you. But once you get underneath the surface, you're like, oh, you're a sociopath. You are so self involved.
Yeah, I more for me it's just like this guy just wants he wants a mommy, and I don't want to be his mommy cuz he had a mommy and that was the goddess that he was banging. Can I curse?
Fuck yeah.
Okay, all right. Yeah, that's the goddess that he was fucking, and then she dumped his ass and now he wants me to be his mommy. I'm not going to do it.
That is, you're describing me and Cullen in Inquisition, because I
Yeah.
always end up playing Femme Inquisitor, and Cullen is like, I have a drug addiction. I love you. Help me out. I'm like, no, 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 we're not doing this. We're going after Josephine.
Yeah. I was playing a femme inquisitor and then I found out that Dorian is gay, so I went back and remade myself into a boy because I like Dorian so much.
Listeners of the show, if you remember the Ryan Gilliam interview about Mass Effect 2 a few weeks back, Dorian comes up a lot. Dorian was one of the first exposures I had to a queer character. I grew up very Roman Catholic. So talking to
Me too.
Dorian, it was such a great gateway. I was like, oh, these aren't scary like people told me. Dorian's cool. I love how games can do that. I'd love to jump ahead to a question because I have a feeling this is going to be fun. Um, can we talk briefly about our shared love for Elliot from The Magicians? Because uh, I noticed that you posted something about Elliot, and I was like, oh my god,
I
talk
love
about
Elliot.
so that for my wife read all the Magicians books, and she's like, we should get into this. We should watch it, and the main character, I can't remember his name, but like a
Quentin.
black hole, Quentin,
Quentin.
black hole of charisma for me. But when Elliot showed up, and especially in later seasons, I was like, thank God. And what I'm noticing, your love of these characters from Baldur's Gate and Elliot, I notice a theme going on here. Would you say so?
Yeah, nasty gay guys. Yeah. I was the person who, so you said you played a lot of double exposure. I predominantly wrote Vin. So if you haven't, so Vin was extremely, very, very, impacted by Elliot. Like,
And
I
now
thought
that's all
about,
I see.
I thought about Elliot a lot while I was writing Vin. Um, the place that he, the star the I started saying Astarian, so that's how Baldur's Gate 3, the Abraxas Club that he is the president of was originally a going to be in the game. It got cut because we ran out of
Sure.
money, but that was very based on the physical kids cottage from the Magicians.
Okay. That's fun. I,
Yeah.
I love seeing these two things interact like that. That's fantastic. Uh, the Abraxas Club, I was having flashbacks of that society from Gilmore Girls as well. And now I just feel like I need to combine Logan and Elliot, and there's Vin. That's really
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah, Vin is a combo kind of Elliot and then a character from another thing that I've worked on, Hive Swap. There's a kind of a nasty, uh, popular boy in that too. So
So, hearing you talk about double exposure and hearing you talk about developing this character, uh, there's a question I've always had about the writing process of a game. And that is, I know that there's people in games that write barks, people that write dialogue, but your resume says narrative designer. Can
Mhm.
you give us some background on what it means to be a narrative designer versus a writer on a video game?
So it really depends on the studio that you're at. Narrative designer can literally mean just writer, and it's a word that just gets used for when you're writing on a video game because it sounds more devy, I guess. Or it can mean you're literally in Unreal, like plugging stuff in. So sometimes I'll go to a narrative designer, call for a narrative designer, and they want somebody with broad knowledge of Unreal 5, which I don't have. I don't know why you want a writer coding things. That sounds like a terrible waste of time, everybody's time. But narrative designer, at least on Life is Strange from the time that I worked there, and I worked on Double Exposure, and then also um I was on the lead writer on pre-production of what became Life is Strange Reunion, but it was very different when I was working on it. Um and basically what a narrative designer does is that they actually like, instead of just writing the words, though they often do that too, is sort of like in Life is Strange it was mostly like coming up with the puzzles, coming up with the quests, the scenarios, figuring out how the basically like the mechanics of narrative within a game are what a narrative designer does.
That makes sense. I mean, it sounds like much like a lot of studios and startups, you kind of have to switch hats
Hmm.
as needed. Man, plugging things into Unreal 5, I feel like I'd be like, I don't want to break anything. This giant
Yeah.
Jenga tower, please somebody be over my shoulder the entire time.
Yeah, that's how I felt every time I'm in, even every time I'm in like Confluence or something. I'm like, I hope this is backed up. I don't want to I don't want to break anything.
Uh, just for shits and giggles, I downloaded Unreal 5 months ago to be like, maybe I can do this. And immediately I was like, no, this is not my place. This is absolutely not. That's so interesting to hear because I feel like in all the creative projects that I've worked on, there's always a moment where somebody's like, nobody knows how to do this. Somebody has to learn. And it sounds like people in your position, maybe they just have to rapidly learn some of those skills.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely learned a lot of what is, I guess, basically coding, working on Life is Strange. I mean, it's anybody with any programming experience would be like, this is, nothing. But for me, I was like, I don't, all these buttons and I don't know what this means.
I'm curious, how do you as a writer, as a narrative designer, um, jump into a character like Max
Mhm.
and these new surroundings after years? What kind of barriers do you have to overcome as a writer to say, this is my interpretation, this is how I'm going to do it?
Well, I mean, it was a big challenge, and there was a like I think the writing team was a number of people, and I wasn't the lead writer on Double Exposures. That was the incredible Deandra Warwick. So a lot of it was from her, and it was a challenge writing Max because she's such an iconic character, and there's a lot of people with a lot of ideas of that the fandom has had 10 years to decide what she would be doing in the future. Um, and also, I think that this is a thing that I think I've said before is that we weren't just competing with Max, we were competing with people's memories of Max. And I think that one of the big things that I noticed when we were especially like presenting things to the publisher is that everybody has like kind of thinks of Max as the nice one. And I guess compared to Chloe, she is, because Chloe's, like the rocker chick or whatever. But Max is a very spicy person. She always has been. And we didn't invent her like love of exploitation and horror and like schlocky horror. Like that was from the first game. Like she had like her and what's his face Warren were talking about like Necromantic, which is like an insane movie for like an to give your 18-year-old girl that you're trying to date. It makes me respect Warren a little more actually. Um but yeah, and obviously like we knew that a lot of people were not going to like our interpretation of Max, so that's always like you know a challenge.
For what it's worth, I felt like going home again for me. And I don't know if it's because in 10 years since I played the original, I got married, I had a kid, we experienced a
Mm,
world pandemic. But once I heard that reunion was coming out, I was like, oh no, we have to hurry up and speed through
mhm.
double exposure. And when you have a kid, you can never speed through games like that.
Yeah.
But it was so much fun to go back and see some of those touchstones of her character. How does that differ from a project like Pathologic, where you can kind of create things more wholesale?
Well, Pathologic actually I was a localization editor, so I was not writing the game.
Whoa, that's a whole different
I
thing.
was editing the translation of the game. So it was interesting because we were basing our take on every character from the way that the characters act in Pathologic 2. And the people who translated Pathologic or worked on the localization of Pathologic 2 were with us on the team, so that was very helpful. But
Nice.
it is so we were both trying to actually match the meaning of what was intended in Russian, and it's already a very esoteric, weird piece of fiction in Russian, and then trying to match how it sounds in English translated. So it was very challenging, but it was awesome. I mean, Pathologic 2 is one of my favorite games of all time, so it was extremely exciting to get to work on it in any like capacity.
Man, the weight of that sounds intense. We spoke to Andrew Staley last week, 2 weeks ago, who does some of the cosmetics for Fortnite, and him talking about getting to touch all these different IP that he loves. The weight can really weigh on you. If you had to work on another one of your favorite games as a sequel, what would you pick?
Oh. I would love if they ever make another Dishonored game, I want them to call me.
I have attempted to go through a no kill play of those games several
It's
times, and there's
hard.
always a moment where I'm like, nope, I don't have the time.
Yeah, it's really hard. I mean, those games aren't really designed for you to go through fully stealth. It's not like Deus Ex or anything like that. But um, yeah, those are great games. Would love to work on a Dishonored game
If we can will more Dishonored into the world, gosh, it'd be a much nicer place.
or just any Arcane game. Honestly, like I've loved all of Arcane's games. I love their like stealth built up around fighting like six weird guys.
Did they do Mankind Divided? Was that Arcane? Oh no,
No.
that was Eidos Montreal.
Yeah, they've made Dishonored, Prey,
Oh,
the new
that's the one.
Prey.
Oh, and Deathloop. Yeah.
Yeah, and Deathloop. Yeah, I love Deathloop. I like Prey a lot. It's my least favorite, but I mean, it's not anything like the original Prey. It's really more of a system shock, but it is also very good.
Prey was one of those games where I had to hit the safety button on the PlayStation, which is just hitting the PlayStation icon and navigating to close game because it got too spooky.
The
That
worst
was too spooky.
the part of Prey that was the worst for me was the zero gravity sections made me very seasick.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
unfortunate.
Yeah, I have
And once
trouble
that
with
happens,
yeah. I have trouble with that. Also, weirdly, the driving in Cyberpunk 2077 also made me
yo,
seasick.
I'm trying to play Cyberpunk right now. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I got a portal. I was like, if it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen now. And every part of that game feels decent. And then I get in a car and it feels like I'm driving a boat. And I don't know why.
It um it's bonkers how bad the driving is in that game and how much you have to do it. Um I know a ton of people that work on Cyberpunk. They're all extremely talented. I don't know the person who did the driving though. I don't respect them, but I respect everybody else.
A buddy of mine just got hired over at CDPR, and I want to be like, hey, just a little note: make the cars, not boats. We'll see how that
Or
works out.
just don't even like don't what why are you I play video games so I don't have to drive from location to location.
Well, they just put in the auto drive. That's all I've done. But the
Yeah.
problem is, you put on auto drive, you're still going to hit somebody, and then I'm in combat, and I'm like, come on,
Yeah.
Delamain, you're supposed to be better about this.
Yeah.
Uh, Tell you what, I'm going to ask people to give me $1, and then
Okay.
when we come back, I'm going to ask you about your favorite game of all time.
Okay.
All right. So, y'all out there, the Last Save Lounge is supported by Patreon at patreon.com/hoodieweather. By supporting Hoodie Weather, patrons get a bonus segment each week, a bundle of Hoodie Weather tabletop games and ad-free episodes in your feeds. And hey, if times are tough, I think you are too. You don't have to give us $1. You can always support the show by subscribing right now. If you're thinking about it, if you're on Apple, if you're on Spotify, Overcast, any of those, just hit subscribe. By having more subscribers, we can attract more guests and listeners. And also rate us and review us on your podcast app of choice. Tell your friends or your rivals. We're not picky. We just got one more review on Apple Podcasts. You didn't leave a name, but I know who you are. You're my friend. Thank you. And that being said, we're back with our guest, Aysha. Question of the show. What is your favorite game of all time?
That is a hard question to answer, but I think the one that I most want to talk about is we've already touched on it actually. Dragon Age 2 is my favorite game.
Oh, all right. All right. So lay it on me. What is it about Dragon Age 2 that is so compelling to you?
So I played it actually I first played Origins, Dragon Age Origins, because that's the first one. And I literally played it when Dragon Age 2 had come out, and I saw some controversy on Tumblr, I guess it was back in 2012.
It sounds about right.
Yeah. So it was like apparently David Gator, the lead writer, had gotten into some fights on Reddit um with some guy who was like mad that Gale comes onto you, whether if even if you're a guy. Like it doesn't the game doesn't ask you if you're interested in men. He just comes onto you and you can reject him or flirt with him. Kind of like real life. Yeah, amazing if you could press a button and make men not hit on you. But I think a lot of us would. So I remember seeing that, and I remember the guy was saying something like in this like talking about how the women in the game were weird, like the romance choices in the game were like 2 guys and then 2 women who were like gross. Because Meryl has like the facial tattoos and Isabella is slutty. So they didn't want either of those girls.
Okay.
Right. So the most normal guy is Anders, but that's gay.
Yeah, well, he blows up a church, yeah.
Right. Yeah, he's a terrorist, whatever.
Yeah.
And David Gator and the guy said, "You're ignoring your main demographic, the straight male gamer." And David Gator was like, "This is not a game for straight male gamers. This is a game for everyone." And he like did this long because David Gator himself is a gay man.
Mhm.
I don't know if he was out at the time, but like he is now. And I remember seeing that and being like, wow, I should check this game out because this is the sort of thing I would like to see encouraged in the industry. And this was like pre-Gamergate, but things were still, there was. So I picked up Origins. I liked Origins, but Dragon Age 2, I was playing it I think like my last year of college during finals when I should have been doing finals. I was
So
instead
you
playing
flunked your
Dragon Age.
finals,
I did
understandably.
I did great on my finals. I got summa cum laude in undergraduate, and you know how much that has helped me in my career?
Damn.
0.
Yeah, right. Your permanent record doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't even go to graduation. I didn't even care about it. I was like, I'm not paying money for those robes. Fuck it.
You're just walking across the stage. It's a sham.
Yeah. Yeah, I got sent my diploma. I don't know if I even took it out and looked at it. That's how much I cared about college. Um, so I like there's a couple key things about Dragon Age 2 that I think are incredible, and I think that if so Dragon Age 2 is wasn't a flop, but it was the least well received, the least well selling game, even though it is the best. And I will go to the mat for I jokingly say Dragon Age 2 is the only good video game. And then people will be like, "Oh, what class should I play?" And I'm like, "Oh, don't worry about it. They're all garbage. The combat in that game is terrible. Avoid it." But it makes up for it in some of the best written video game characters I think ever. it's like, this is a game about 9 sociopaths all like having sex with each other and taking breaks from that to like accidentally save the world from save the city from an act of fantasy racism or whatever.
I am actively on my Charlie Day board. It's like the magicians, Dragon Age, all of these things are a Venn diagram, and I
Yeah.
love it. But you're
Yeah.
right, like Isabella, Varric, like they're all kind of by disaster people
They're all
in the
horrible
same
people.
town. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And also Hawk, like so there's a number of things that I love in this game. And one is that I don't really care about building my own character. Like, I never make the character look like me. I want to give me a guy and I will play them. I don't want to make my own guy. That's why I usually just end up like picking the default drow or something in Baldur's Gate 3. Like, I don't care about making my own character. So the fact that you could make Hawk look any way you wanted, but they male and female Hawk basically had a very canon self. Like, they have like the birthmark on their face, and they um I think their names are like default names are Garrett and Marion, maybe.
Garrett Hawk sounds
Yeah.
familiar. And
um
like the brother sister, like it's
right.
pretty set in stone.
So the fact that Hawk already has he like, I'm gonna say he because I always used a male Hawk, so that's who Hawk is to me. But um Hawk has a personality basically that you can sort of choose. You can make him like a meme lord, or you can make him like kind of a nasty guy. But basically, like, he has a background. He has like, I like that there is like a shape of a character there that you can sort of then imprint your own thing on. I know a lot of people don't like being stuck in that, and that's fine, but I don't mind it. Uh, Another thing is that um the characters, and this is the thing that I think Baldur's Gate 3 is missing. Even though Baldur's Gate 3 is the closest I have coming to experiencing the Dragon Age 2 emotion. So all the characters in Dragon Age, and this is true in Inquisition and Veilguard as well, the characters have relationships with each other outside of your player character. There are certain characters who, if you don't romance them, they will get together in the background, like Fenris and Isabella, and then Dorian and Bull, uh, 2 characters whose names I can't remember from Veilguard because I only played like 70% of it. I need to replay Inquisition because I didn't like it very much, and I think it was because it was not Dragon Age 2. I just wanted it to
Okay.
be Dragon
Okay.
Age 2. Because they went in such an opposite direction from Dragon Age 2 because everybody's so
Mhm.
mad about. So they were like, here, we'll make every environment is going to be bigger than every environment combined in Dragon Age 2. And I was like, yeah, but that sucks.
But you're never going to leave the hinterlands.
I
You
know.
have a world of empty stuff. And like, I like that. When I had all the time in the world, I was like, I'm going to get the platinum. And I did. And let me tell you, it was such an empty decision.
Yeah. So
I was just bored.
all of your characters, and in Dragon Age 2, everybody like basically has their own house. Everyone has their
Mhm.
own home base, and when you go to see them, they'll be hanging out with each other. Like, Anders and Varric will be playing cards, and then like Isabella will be sexually harassing Fenris in his house or whatever. Um, it works. I don't know. Um, and I think that makes the characters feel like real people. Like, you feel like this is an actual group of friends who all just sort of, because they fall together kind of because they all like do a job together and then
Mhm.
keep working together. They do I guess like a heist or whatever.
Yeah, that Act 1. Yeah.
Varric's like steal some shit from the deep roads, my least favorite place. Um, Another thing, the romance system, I think I have never seen replicated. The rivalmance romance, how you can
Mhm.
hate fuck people, which is incredible. It's so, it is like, it is galaxy brain, and I can't believe it's never been replicated. It is like, the character just has to feel strongly about you. And I think that's brilliant because it makes you not so, if you're like interested in a character, but you disagree with them, like
Mhm.
Fenris, who is like, I think it's great. We should genocide all mages. So
And
if you
your
don't,
decision is like, yes or no. It's like,
right.
oh.
So if you don't want to genocide all mages, Fenris gets mad at you, but if you still want to have sex with him, you can.
which it feels so much more human. As somebody, I always played Garrett. I always played a male hawk because my Grey Warden was in my head canon femme, so I was switching on and off. Uh, Isabella, I always felt like the romance there was very unsatisfying because you don't really get what you want,
Yeah.
but it makes sense for the character for
Yeah.
her to be like, we had this, but I kind of got to go over here. I wish more games would emulate that because if you have a crush on somebody in real life, at least I have been to the point where I'm like, "Oh, this person's so stupid, I hate them." Oh, wait, do I have feelings?
Yeah.
Like, more games should emulate that.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm in the great Fenris uh Anders waifu wars. I was a Fenris girly. If that surely doesn't surprise anybody. Um,
Well,
but
again,
yeah,
it's Fenris or a terrorist. It's
yeah.
what you
I
know.
I think that Anders is an incredible character. I think that um I wish that I know that they couldn't because you can kill him at the end so he can be dead, but I was very upset that he never came back because he's so interesting. I thought he was everything Anders did, I was like, "Shut up. You're so stupid." But he's a great character. I and that like that is the thing. I didn't like Veilguard very much. I found the battle system, it was the only time I've ever had fun play doing fighting in a Dragon Age game. I will say
That
that.
makes sense. Yeah.
Battle system is very frenetic and interesting if you can figure it out, which took me forever. But um, the thing that I didn't like about that game, and this is just personal preference, is that everybody in that is so well adjusted and nice to each other. And that's not why I play a Dragon Age game. I want them to be. I need them all an inch from strangling each other.
Yes. There's a reason why in Origins, I'm like, how can I piss Win off this game? How can I bring her to this tomb and then do something that makes her say, "Well, I never," and run away. And
Yeah,
then you can kill her. But like I love those BioWare games because your crew organically reacts to what's happening around you. They have their own belief system, they have their own morals. And if everyone's just gonna believe me anyway, that's probably a cult leader, and I don't wanna be that.
yeah,
I
yeah.
wanna
And
be like the group leader that works with those dynamics.
there's a couple characters in it that I really liked. I really liked Emmerich, the necromancer old man. I thought he was a lot of fun. He reminded me of Doctor Who.
Of
Um,
course, yeah.
yeah. Oh yeah, there's a couple characters who I thought were really great, and I liked the designs. But yeah, it did not scratch the I need everybody to sort of be a horrible person itch. But that's just a character flaw of mine.
Well, let me ask you this, because Dragon Age is a series that, I feel like we both fell into pretty deep at different times. They're all very different games with very different teams, but Veilguard gives you something that's an incredibly different flavor than, I think, the first 3 games. Do you think that if you played Veilguard when you were in college, it would hit you the same way that Dragon Age 2 did?
Probably it would have. I think I do think that the writing in Veilguard is not it's not like that, it's not bad. It feels a little more nervous compared to the other writing.
It's way less
Or
confrontational.
yeah, yes. And I guess if I didn't have Dragon Age 2 to compare it with, which is like extremely confrontational, like everybody's always like literally like you will be in like I still remember like having my hawk had like gotten together with Fenris, and then as soon as I put Anders into the party, just get party banter where he's like, "I don't understand what Hawk sees in you," and I was like, "Here we go."
It's like an episode of Riverdale, but you get
Yeah.
to be every character. Uh, I so just a brief story, but Origins came to me at a time I was graduating college. I had broken up with my longtime girlfriend, and I remember getting to the lands meet at the end of Origins, and I was like, there has to be a way where everyone can be happy because that's what I wanted. And I kept reloading the lands meet, and I got to a point where I was like, no. fuck it. I'm just going to make the decisions that make sense for me and my character and let the chips fall where they may. And I really admire that about Dragon Age. It's a game of gray areas. And when I play Veilguard, I can have that fairy tale ending. I
Yeah.
can make everybody happy. I can make everyone like me, even if it goes against their intrinsic morals and values. But I'm curious, have any other games even come close to Dragon Age 2 for you? It's a very singular game.
I don't think so. Like I do I do think that if I had played Baldur's Gate 3 the time that I played Dragon Age 2, I would
You'd be
feel
ruined forever. Yeah.
yes. I mean Baldur's Gate 3 is an incredible game. The best part of that game is the character the actual just the on-screen line by line dialogue is excellent in that game. Um, I but I really think it suffers from the fact that your characters just don't really talk to each other. It feels like everybody is sort of, and I know, and because of the nature of Baldur's Gate, where you can kill anybody can die at any time, so nobody can actually be that important to the plot because the
Sure.
plot has to be able to go ahead without them, which I think is interesting in some ways, but then it's very limiting to what you can actually do with the characters.
Yeah, those
Like
stakes
nobody,
aren't exactly there.
yeah, it's still. I definitely like played it for hundreds and hundreds of hours, so like it is very compelling to me. It's incredible, the actors, the writing, incredible. But yeah, I don't think anything has ever really. There have been games that have affected me in a similar way narratively, like Pathologic 2 is one of them. um, I think that also is a game that kind of changed like my brain chemistry the way that Dragon Age 2 did. Um, Disco Elysium also probably same year.
Killer. Yep.
Um, but yeah, I think just like the age that I was like in my early 20s, I had never really played a game where you could be gay before, which is another thing that like especially you could play games where you could be gay but like you wouldn't have like passionate love scenes, right? Like the I was just like, wow, like that's legal. um so that was a big part of it, and just like I don't know, it's just such an intricate, like tight little gem of a game that they made in like
A
13
year?
months. Yeah.
Yeah.
um that it's very very simple as a game, but it also is extremely like they just focused on the things that they could focus on, which was like storytelling and characters, and because that stuff's a lot cheaper. And
Yeah.
you can tell like it's just extremely compelling the whole way through.
Yeah, I think I can finish that game in like 9 or 10 hours, but
Hmm.
what keeps me going is you see the direct result of your choices
Hmm.
one after
Yeah.
the other through each act, even just Hawk's house, the way
Yeah.
the city changes, the way that that I can't remember the name of
The
whatever.
air
Oh,
shock.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I was just so it was so different from Origins. The first time I played it, I hated it. And then
Hmm.
I came back and met the game on its own terms, and over time, I feel like getting to experience it through other people's stories made me really appreciate it more,
Yeah.
and it's always a highlight when I wanna replay those games. It's just
Yeah,
brilliant.
I really need to go back and try Inquisition again. There was a couple like I loved Dorian, thought he was an incredible character. I loved how nasty he was. He was like a mean person.
Yeah.
Loved that. You know, that's the thing I like. I like nasty people. I think the biggest disappointment for me in that game is I just really did not like Freddie Prinze Jr.'s performance as Bull. I thought it could have been I think somebody could have done such a better job. um I just he just was Rizless.
And Dragon Age is a game where at least one character always has Riz.
Hmm.
You have Morrigan, you have Fenris, you have nobody in Inquisition, and then you have, like, a smattering of it in
So
Veilguard.
you know what? The thing in Veilguard that I think was missing, and I said this on Blue Sky, is that it was missing the pervert. There was no weird sex pervert in that game, and there needed to be. Because Origins has Zivran, who gets to everybody talking about stuff, and then Isabella in 2, and then Bull in 3. And 4 there was no weird little pervert to get everybody to talk about like their love lives in camp banter. That's what that game was missing.
The spy was like maybe, but even then very closely guarded, and everybody else was really nice or obsessed with their animals, which is fine. But I think you're right. They need a little bit of that spice.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Aysha, I know I kept you a little bit longer than I promised, but if we wanted to hear more of your Dragon Age musings online, where might we find you?
I'm on Blue Sky, aishafara.bluesky. And I post there a lot. So if you want to hear me talk, there's probably a lot of Dragon Age posts up there.
I mean, perfect. I feel like back in the old Twitter days, we had a lot of Dragon Age. And
there's a dearth of Dragon Age. So I also have a couple podcasts. I'm on a podcast called Workers Lit, which is a book podcast where we read books. Which, I'm reading a book a week because of this podcast now. So, yeah, I know. Also, I have a podcast called All My Maidens, which is an Elden Ring podcast. It's kind of on hiatus right now because my brain is very smooth currently. But hopefully I'll be spinning it back up soon-ish.
I'm realizing that's where I found you because I can't play Elden Ring. It's too scary. I have to be a mage. It's too scary for me. Maybe when it comes to Switch 2, but right now...
You can be a mage.
Oh, that's the only way I can play it. But I have a clip of that dragon from the first, lake crashing into me, and I hit the safety switch. I was like, PlayStation, closed game, can't do this.
The thing about Elden Ring, though, you can just leave. Most of the boss battles, you can leave.
That dragon, threw me.
He won't chase you very far.
He won't, but I went back later, and I was like, I'm gonna fucking kill you.
Even Yura tells you not to fight that dragon. He'll be like, if you see that dragon, don't fight it. And then if the dragon kills you, you can go back talk to Yura and he calls you stupid idiot.
I need to learn a lesson first. And I got learned. I'll put it that way.
I feel like
I have
if
to play
a samurai tells me to do something, I'll do it.
Yeah, that's probably a good point. That'll inform my POV for the next few years. All right, well, Aysha, thank you so much. I feel like I need to go back into Limgrave now and just experience some hubris. Definitely follow All My Maidens. Definitely follow on Blue Sky. We'll put links in doodly-doo and all that. Listeners, thank you so much for joining us for Last Save Lounge. I hope you enjoyed it just as much as I did. As a reminder, play some Dragon Age. There's a ton of disasters in there that you would love. Last Save Lounge is produced by Hoodie Weather, creating comfy games and podcasts broken in like your favorite hoodie. You can support Hoodie Weather by heading to patreon.com/hoodieweather and becoming a patron for just $1. Or hey, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your enemies. We are not picky. As always, I'm Aaron, and I will see you next Tuesday. Bye.